Hey, hey, hey. Time for an out of this world story from our space. Don't know what to do. I have been together with my wife for 11 years, married for 4. We have a son, under 4, and I believe within my heart that we are over. So the story goes like this. I met her when she just turned 20 and I was 29 at the time. We both come from very humble families. I have always been pretty mature, so by that time when I met her, I've had already good savings, stable jobs, the college degree, the car, etc. All in all, in good shape. She was the opposite, which was understandable for a girl of her age and class, which is the norm for where we come from. So I basically took her under my wing. I tried to kind of teach her, with my own example, that if she was determined in life, she could accomplish many things, many of which I have already accomplished. I tried to guide her on the things I saw that could jeopardize her goals in life. I tried to keep away from any type of bad influence, i.e. showing her that savings are important and that, while it is good to party from time, to keep an eye on things that could potentially drive her away from her goals. I helped her financially, emotionally, and personally through all this. Doing all this, she got her college degree, she got a job, she became the woman I wanted her to be. But, unconsciously, my manipulative behavior, although unintended, created some type of stereotype of me on her mind, to the point that deep inside her, she saw how controllable I was with many of the things she wanted to do. Fast forward to today, this has created numerous communication issues between us, because she was not always honest with me on what she wanted. She acknowledged everything I said, even if she had a different opinion. I was blindsided all the time, as I thought what I was doing was good for the both of us. Because of those arguments through time, we became uninterested in intimacy, which created greater issues. We had a big argument a couple of weeks ago, and I asked her to leave. There was no infidelity or physical abuse on either side. Upon realizing what I did, I tried to reconcile with her, but I was confronted with her true reality. That she didn't feel anymore the same way with me, that the man she admired the most was gone, and that she felt that even my kisses didn't feel the same way. That she was long awaiting for me to make a step to ask her to leave, as she was for a long time longing for it. She says that she wants to basically have her own place, with her own rules, and be single. I tried to beg her multiple times over the last few days or weeks, only to be told the same thing. Now, I'm sitting this fog trying to cope with all of this and don't know for sure what to do. I know I have confessed and admitted to all the wrongdoings throughout our relationship, but I told her that those things, if she let me, I can work on them and make her happy again. She says she doesn't want to reconcile with me because she will keep hurting me and that she prefers to leave it as is. I'm so confused by her words. I know I can try to reconcile, but I am not even sure if that is worth it if what she is telling me is coming from her deep heart. I don't want us to get together only to be the only half to try to fix things. Can I trust her if for some reason she says she wants to get back? Part of me thinks that if she does, she will only do it while she prepares to take her next big step, moving alone. And if that is the case, I want to just think and let it be over now. There is so much more to this history than this, but I just wanted to vent some info to read some opinions. I might make a bigger post another day. Update. So, long story short, I found out the hard way my wife cheated on me. We were together for 11 years, living together for almost 5 of those. We have a 4-year-old son. We were having problems since the end of last year, and something deep in my heart always told me that it might come to an end. I kept hope and pushed and keep fighting nonetheless. We got into 2 very big arguments. She went out and came home the day after. The first of which happened in January, on which I told her that if something like this was going to happen again, she will have to leave the house. Then, around March, the same thing happened, and I asked her to leave, only to beg her to come back a few days later. She did with my insistence. I did this because I could not see myself without her. On both occasions, she told me that she just went out with her sisters and fell asleep over at their house. I never actually doubted her on the explanation back then. I just get angry because she did so, something that I saw as disrespectful in itself for her to not come home. After the first incident in January, I actually started working towards repairing our relationship, and we made good progress. We started doing things we weren't doing before, we started to have more intimacy, etc. Overall, we were getting better and I was happy and I thought she was so as well. One unusual thing called my attention during that period. She put a fingerprint lock to her phone. Never, ever, I had actually saw her even putting a pin on her phone, let alone a fingerprint. When I confronted her regarding that, her answer was that she did so because in case they steal it. Something that she knew right away I did not suggest. I am from IT myself, but I went along with it and acknowledged it. So this basically fueled some type of doubt on myself. So fast forward to last Wednesday. I could not take it anymore and I went ahead to check her phone. I had to add my own fingerprint. What I discovered crumbled my world. My wife had an affair on both occasions with the same man. First in January on the exact same date that she did not come home. And then in March on the same day I asked her to leave. Even more excruciating is that I found out she got a pregnancy test done 15 days after the first encounter back in January. I discovered so many disgusting things that it made me feel so sick to my stomach. I feel perplexed, confused, angry, betrayed, and everything else you can imagine. I have not eaten or slept since Wednesday, just thinking that everything is over, but I cannot get over the reason for her to cause me so much pain. I feel sometimes like I want to speak to her and tell her all that, but then I know that it is not going to do anything. I know I have to leave and keep on with my wife, but it just seems I will not be able to. The pain so much that I don't know what to do, to be honest. I have a great support group of family and friends, but none of that seems to do anything on me to take away my feelings. How can I get over this? When will this end? How is it possible that a person is able to cause so much pain? She was my world and now it's over. I love my son, but this fact doesn't take away any of the pain I feel. I am beyond devastated. I need some advice, please. One quick bit of advice from Springfield 2016. You are codependent on her. She was more important to you than you were to yourself. That is unhealthy. You need to work on your own self-respect. Learn that you may want someone, but you don't need someone to be happy. An equal partnership is a happy marriage. That is one where each of you love and trust the other. You work out issues together, not go running outside the marriage. Until you can center yourself, be happy with yourself, you will not be happy with anyone else, especially a cheater. Now get a lawyer, explain the situation, and follow their advice. Become a better person and father without a cheating spouse. I suggest the book, Lose a Cheater, Gain a Life to Start. Update. Feel as if my world has come to an end. So I'm basically 3 weeks since I found out about it. Upon discovering and kicking her out, I basically implemented a no-contact policy with her, only talking about the kid. Unfortunately, I have to wait 3 months before I file for divorce. Over the course of the days and weeks, I have felt bad, panic attacks everywhere, thinking about the whys and whatnot. I have not, up to this day, slept well, but my appetite has recovered. I hit the gym 5 days a week and it has helped. So far, I believe I am making some progress as to recover myself from the trauma this caused me. I'm not there yet, but I am fighting for it. Now for the interesting part. From all this, the only thing I keep thinking of, and afraid of, is for the well-being of my kid. His mother and I, we belong to different social classes, in the sense that I am somewhat between middle to upper class and her family is between lower to middle. So this imposes a different environment to the kid. So when he is with me, I provide him with a very different environment than when he is with her. For obvious reasons, I try to impose a more strict and moral environment to him than her. So, on the Saturday before the last, I couldn't help but told her over text after dropping him off for swimming classes that I believe that the kid will be much better in the environment and house that I provide, and that I didn't have any issues with her picking him up whenever she wanted, but that I strongly believe that living with me will be his best option. Of course, I told her that I will only agree with something if she agrees as well, and that I will accept whatever we come up with. She later responded to me on Sunday about this, that she wanted to pick up some of her stuff in the house and then we could talk about it, and we did. She did not agree with that, and told me that by agreeing to that, she will basically wave her son to me, which I told her I did not see it like that. Anyway, we agreed into some water in between, where the kid will spend time with me daily and will sleep over at her place. But, while we were talking and her picking up her clothes, she tried to bring up some arguments regarding her situation, etc., which I tried to hold her to just be about the kid. But anyways, we ended up talking about it anyway. I agreed. I couldn't help it. We cried together. We said that we didn't see our lives with us being together. I asked her many questions. I told her I did not know how we could have ended up like this, etc. Somehow, I believe she wanted me to stop her from grabbing her clothes to put it into a bag, but I didn't do it. I let her do it, and even helped her. In the end, when she was about to leave the house, I couldn't help her and asked for a hug. And we did. And she was crying and told me that she didn't want to leave. So this was the last time we spoke in person and basically the last time we saw each other. So fast forward to yesterday. I have maintained the same no-contact policy. Over the course of some conversations regarding the kid, she basically tried to hint me with reconciliation phrases, for example asking how we are doing, and if I reply with a picture of him, she would reply back with something like, I envy him for being with you, etc. But I always ignored them. So on last Saturday, she brought up a topic over text regarding the kid's birthday, which is going to happen in about a month. She proposed to me that we celebrate his birthday with 2 of our families together, in my house. I immediately rejected the idea, and told her to cool it off for a few weeks. She insisted. She even told me that if I had someone else in my life already, that she would understand and accept it. but that it will be better if we make just one single party for him. I was then forced to suggest to her that it would be in our best interest to have birthday parties separated, one where she could invite her family and friends, and one where I could do the same. She got somehow mad at that, and I suggested we have this conversation later on. So, yesterday, she reached out to me via text and asked me how I am doing. Something strange, as like I said, I have kept a strict no-contact policy with her about only our kid. I answered with just a bland fine. She then proceeded to ask me how I'm doing overall and how I do feel about her. I have kept my cool all this time, but these two questions really got me. I couldn't hold it anymore and told her everything about how miserable my life has been for the last 3 weeks, the appetite, the sleepless nights, everything. That I didn't hate her or can't develop any resentment towards her because all in all, she is the mother of my son. She then proceeded to open up. Among many things, she told me that she will always be there for me, that she expects me to forgive her and she feels horrible for it, that she misses me and loves me. She even told me that she knows she betrayed me and that it is difficult, but not impossible, because she wants to give me this time around that she didn't ever give me. Trust, honesty, respect. But told me that she is willing to give up on me if it is for my well-being, even if that would mean that she will be hurt for life, since she is used to kind of holding the load of pain inside her always. I ended the conversation there as I was busy at work and suggested we continue later. I even went ahead and told her that everything she wanted to say and that she has already said to me over text, I wanted her to tell me up front and in my face. She agreed. So now I am basically full of questions and doubts. I know and understand what I should do, but I can't keep worrying about my little kid's future. I had a session with my therapist today and I shared this with her. She is religious, and she is all in for a reconciliation. I told her that I really doubt I will be able to forgive, but she insisted that it is and will be possible. She told me something really that got to my heart, however, along the lines of, it is your decision, but you need to understand that the path you choose now, it is the right path for you and your family, and that you'll not regret it in the future if you could have tried it. She says I don't lose anything but trying, so I don't know what I'm asking here, but perhaps some opinions about all this. So we've not had this next conversation yet, and to be honest, all I'm interested in is just to see her eye to eye and confirm she is actually speaking from the heart. My therapist suggested to bring her up. Thanks all for reading and chiming in. Our first response comes from Zach Taylor 05. She is not missing you, she is missing the life you provide. Do not take her back, you will regret it. Blade 982 says, I had a session with my therapist today. I feel like that's really unprofessional. She should guide you, not impose her own beliefs on you. Next thought from Mrs. Jingles 0729. What country are you in? In the US, if your child sleeps at her house every night, you'll be paying a lot of child support. You already know telling the truth isn't her strong suit. Manipulating you sure is, though. If she could be nice for a short time and fool you into giving her full custody, then you don't need to worry about your son having a lower lifestyle with her because you'll be funding a better lifestyle for her at the expense of your own. She isn't interested in you. She's interested in your money and funding your next family. On to the next story. Husband's affair partner burned down our house. My husband and I moved out of our old house and into a new house, but hadn't sold the old place yet due to finishing some renovations. The affair partner was a friend of his, who I wasn't a fan of, lived nearby. After we moved and he was there finishing renovations, she pretty much threw herself at him at every occasion. We tried to get him drunk so he wouldn't be able to drive home. Eventually, one night he got drunk and slept with her. It happened again one more time a month later. He was there one evening with some friends. She was drunk and throwing herself at him as usual. He and his friends left, and I guess she was mad, so she lit a fire in the house and burned it down. Of course, I didn't know they had slept together at the time, only found out about it 2 months later because she wouldn't stop harassing me, and I finally was sketched out enough to start looking into her story. Now here we are a few months later and trying to decide if I can forgive my husband or not. He's been pretty severely depressed but in denial, has some SI, and was pretty much at his rock bottom, thinking that it didn't really matter what he did because he wasn't going to be alive much longer. Now, he's in therapy, on medication, and doing all the right things for her family, but I can't stop feeling angry about what he did, why he chose her over me. And he says not that he's thinking clearly, he obviously sees how stupid he was and wishes he could go back and change what he did. The whole situation is just crazy, and I'm so angry to be in it. We have a child, so I don't necessarily want to throw everything away, but I also don't know how to move on past this. First reaction from Mysterious Teaching 30. This seems really sketchy. She's getting him drunk so he will sleep with her. I usually will say, alcohol is never an excuse. But the kind of woman who will burn down a house and harass and stalk people is the kind of woman who would slip you a Mickey too. It's all deranged, and I'm sorry you're having to deal with this. The best thing to do is speak to a lawyer and see what your options are moving forward. You can always reconcile if you wish. Next thought from Blade 982. He invited so much crazy into your lives, I don't know how you move past it. For now, concentrate on yourself and your kids. If you haven't already, document everything crazy his affair partner has done, is doing, and go to the police. Was she reported for arson? The affair partner replies, the police have already been contacted about the harassment and she's not allowed to contact me, just waiting for the court to process with the arson now. Another thought from Tercer 78. I think a trial separation is at least in order. Your feelings are valid here too. Don't care what he was or wasn't going through. You need some time alone to process how you feel and whether this is worth saving. I suggest at least a short trial separation to truly process things and decide if it's worth reconciling. Are those friends still in his life? Because they saw her and what she was doing and still did nothing, then they are no friends of your marriage. Compton CA Polo Club thinks, I don't necessarily want to throw everything away. He already did that for both of you, so anything you do now as far as keeping your dignity and leaving him is not your fault. His excuse is lame, and I don't even blame the affair partner for getting him to sleep with her. What did she do? Put a gun to his head and force him to drink a whole bottle of whiskey and then sleep with her? He's a grown man, and he made his choices to drink to the point of being drunk and to have sex with her. This is the stage, and he was an active participant in, and now, because of his consequences, this resulted in your old place on fire, all because he wanted a new lay. You need time away from him, and to gather your thoughts and seriously think about not showing your child that it's okay to stay with a cheater and manipulator.